Riding a bike requires trust. It represents freedom and operates as an extension of ourselves and the bonds that we have to balance as we mature. The film Frances Ha provides a similar perspective on self-exploration and friendship and intertwines with my own bicycle riding journey. My name is Kimmy, and for 22 years, I did not know how to ride a bike. Anytime I tell someone that, their urge is to teach me immediately. I'm scheduled in their calendar, their hands are on the handlebar keeping me steady. It feels like part of that urge is to right something that went wrong in your youth. Like I missed out on a vital piece of mentorship. My dad tried to teach me as well, to be fair, on a soccer field when I was little and impatient. I booked lessons with a woman named Hillet. We met up in a parking lot, and she started me on a beginner bike, my parents swarming me as my camera crew. Clearly, my dad was still invested in this process.
Oh, he turns around.
I learned how to balance and push myself, gliding first and then pedaling. She encouraged me to always look forward, to lean back, and to keep going. I was prepared for something big to happen when I finally learned. Some major realization, the thing that everyone talks about, an unlocking of my inner child. But it made me feel grown. 'Cause it was really scary. I held on for dear life. I panicked. I slammed my feet down. Apparently the worst way to do it. Apparently that's what brakes are for. Oh. Riding a bike was something I avoided for years because of this fear of looking stupid. Such a common skill that I didn't grasp and waited till this point to face. And then I balanced. And I proved to myself how much I've grown. Because when you're cut loose from the things you rely on, from the push and the stability that makes it easier, you have to pedal yourself. Frances Ha, directed by Noah Baumbach, tells a tale of 27-year-old growing pains. Greta Gerwig plays the titular character whose entire world is shattered when her roommate Sophie, played by Mickey Sumner, who she had been attached to since college, moves out. Their intertwined friendship is threatened as Frances's detrimental attachment is unveiled and unavoidable. Frances describes them as the same person with different hair. As Hilary Radner quotes in her book, The New Woman's Film, Gerwig said, "When she's cut off from Sophie, she's unfettered. She's literally without a home. Sophie is her anchor. Frances clings to comfort like a crutch as her living situation shifts." A philosopher during the French Renaissance, Michel de Montaigne, wrote an essay called On Friendship that dissects the idea of the all-consuming friendship. In this high level of connection he describes, each person gives themselves entirely and therefore has little to give to others. A rival cannot disrupt the strong soulmate level bond. When you find one person to be vulnerable with, it creates convenience and a reluctance to open up to others. You almost don't believe you could brew another connection as strong. She is consumed by her safety net. All of Frances's energy goes to Sophie. It's as though Frances is suffocating in their bond, but she can't imagine her life outside of it. Sophie's fiancé, Patch, and the idea of their picture-perfect, Frances-less future acts as this rival to them. Frances constantly talks down on Patch. Frances doesn't have this sense of stability in another person. Her only stability is Sophie. Radner goes on to write that Frances Ha validates female friendship as generating the governing structures of a young woman's life, but also demonstrates how maturity requires that she must grow out of it into other kinds of relations, in particular with herself. It is clear to us that Frances has a lot of maturing to do from when we see her at the beginning. There is a level of trust she has yet to develop in herself, as she relies on outside figures, like Sophie, to decide what is best for her, like a looming presence that decides her every move, whether Sophie is aware or not. When she loses this constant, she struggles to find her own way. She cannot trust her own opinion or her own ambition. Frances spends time trying to make herself sound interesting at dinner parties. She randomly flies to Paris, it feels like to prove a point, as she does something uncharacteristic. Sophie calls her, and Frances lies about where she is. It's the first time it feels like Francis is giving in to the distance in their friendship.
You should travel, Fran.
I am. I will. I'm going to. I'm sorry, too.
Apology accepted.
Well, don't be a dick about it.
I wasn't.
This phone call's costing me a fortune.
Why?
Just kidding. It's not.
She doesn't know how to navigate the disconnect, how to exist with these boundaries. It's unnatural, it's awkward, it's like getting on a bike for the first time and wobbling. She struggles to gain a sense of independence. In the essay Bicycle Cinema, Machine Identity in the Moving Image, Lars Christensen discusses the movie Premium Rush, in which a delivery man named Wiley has an unusual relationship with a specific part of his bicycle, the brakes. He believes that they give you a false sense of security. The choice to trust his skills over this piece of technology shows a mix of maturity and stupidity. He believes in his own abilities to observe traffic and his own reaction time. He requires an intense focus when he rides. He is resistant to relying on outside figures, not letting anything stop his movement. A lifestyle far from Francis, and perhaps a dangerous one, but showcases an interesting perspective on where we place our trust, in ourselves or in others, how there are many ways to approach your future. Habits that either foster stagnation or movement. Growing up is not a choice. We are cornered into it. That's a major theme throughout the film. Frances tries as much as she can to resist her future, to put it off for as long as she can, living in this stagnation, to find ways around it, dissing new job opportunities, and instead taking one in the familiarity of her old college, living in the same dorms. Frances reaches her own breaking point when she runs into a very drunk Sophie, who hobbles back to stay in Frances's dorm for the night. They are intertwined again, in Sophie's drunken vulnerability and Frances's desperation for connection. They are momentarily as inseparable as they were at the beginning.
I miss my job. I miss old skyscrapers.
Maybe we'll move back to New York at the same time and we'll be like women who rediscover themselves after a divorce.
That's what my mom did.
Oh yeah, sorry.
No, I think it'll be great.
We should get apartments close to each other in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
They are planning their futures attached at the hip in the safe cocoon of their friendship. In the morning, after Frances and Sophie regress in the place they first bonded, Sophie leaves. Frances wakes up to a note from her and instantly, thoughtlessly, darts out of the dorm and into the street to reach her. It takes her a second to notice that she hasn't put shoes on. She saw her bare feet on the pavement and realized they were taking her backwards. She was stopping herself by clinging to her friend. Slamming your feet down is a dangerous instinct, as I learned in biking. This was a test, a fantasy that cracked. It's in this moment that Frances decides to go forward. Suzanne Ferris writes in her book, Greta Gerwig, Filmmaker, that her films are emphatically centered on women who search for identity and purpose while overcoming obstacles impeding their progress. Right here was an obstacle for Frances, and she had to overcome it to find herself. She had a choice to fall back into the arms of her best friend, but she opted to explore the unknown. Christensen in Bicycle Cinema elaborates on the identity between rider and bicycle. We must understand both pieces of the puzzle to grasp their relationship and who relies on who. Bicycles extend our human abilities. They symbolize growth, allowing us to literally go further and faster. The user must have a level of control over the bike, transferring energy. They are equal partners working together in harmony, and not a beginning or an end, but a continuous act, a testament to the human ability to rely on a device that's only purpose is to make you go forward. Growing up is not one instance. We do it over and over again. Frances harnesses her own self-growth and makes the agreement to trust herself every time she gets up and moves. Like how every time you get on a bike, you re-agree to trust yourself and your handling skills. Frances inches closer to her dance dreams in the end, becoming a choreographer for a local company. Sophie comes to see the performance, and it's clear that their connection is not lost. It's deepened in a way. She is a piece of her support system, not the whole thing. In one of the final shots, Frances has a defining moment of eye contact with Sophie across the room. They're shining separately, but holding the world they have together close to their chest. They're not lost in this world, though. They enter and exit the magical comfort of their friendship as they please. Frances finds the careful balance between holding on and letting go. You grasp the handlebars, but your feet trust the journey. 'Cause you don't find strength in other people, you find it in yourself. You find it in the places you're too scared to look. You find it in your bare feet on the street. You find it on a spontaneous flight to Paris. You find it in a group of kids doing your choreography. You find it being pushed by a woman in a random parking lot. The only way to ride a bike is to lean back, breathe, trust yourself, and just go. The only way Frances could live was to lean back, breathe, trust herself, and just go. Barrel forward into the unknown with confidence. It's kinda the only way you can.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. Yes, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Thank you.